Have you ever seen those pictures of people with the suntan you've always wished for? Having a blast in the beautiful, expansive beaches. It's probably a picture from Costa Rica, also known as La República de Costa Rica. The Central American country enjoys a perfect climate for tourists throughout the year. Snow is extremely rare. One would have to travel to one of the highest altitudes to find a place suitable for snow. 60 degrees Fahrenheit is the lowest average temperature Costa Ricans, or Ticos as they are lovingly called, experience. And it can go as high as 90 degrees in the mainland, which is filled with lush rainforests and exotic wildlife. The government strives to protect this jewel of natural beauty so that visitors from all over the world can enjoy. Some of its sites are of such importance that they are listed in the selection of UNESCO World Heritage Sites. Its population is 4,930,258 as of July 2017, and its area is 51,100 square kilometers or 19,730 square miles, which is around the same size as Lake Michigan. Its average elevation is 746 meters above sea level. The capital is San Jose, which is a grand place with modern buildings mixed with Spanish colonial buildings.
This country has rich history dating back to 10,000 years before Christopher Columbus laid his anchor on the coast. Before any of them came along, there were four major indigenous tribes living in Costa Rica: the Caribs in the east, the Borucas, Chibchas, and Dikis in the southwest. All in all, there were about 25 different unique tribes. They were living happily until the 1500s when Christopher Columbus found it on one of his final expeditions to the New World. Costa Rica's name comes from Columbus and his new crew because they thought it looked like a rich coast when they saw the people wearing rings on their noses and ears. Rich coast translates to Costa Rica in Spanish.
Then Spain colonized Costa Rica for 200 years, which is why a lot of Spanish influence can be seen there. The official language is Spanish, and the most prominent religion is Christianity. After they got out of the Spanish rule, they were part of a group called the United Provinces of Central America, which was when the regions now known as Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador, Nicaragua, and of course Costa Rica banded together and made a republic that was independent from Spain and anyone else. It was short-lived and held for about 17 years. After that, some people have tried to revive it, but it was just not meant to be. Costa Rica declared itself totally independent in 1838.
Once it got its independence, it obviously had to make a government. Actually, Costa Rica has one of the oldest democracies in Latin America. They are now a presidential republic. That's basically a fancy word for a government in which the power is shared throughout many branches, one of which is a president who has some power. There is a president, judicial, and legislative branch. The president can only do a little and can't veto what the legislative makes, but can have anyone in his cabinet. The judicial makes sure everything follows the constitution. The legislation makes the laws and is unicameral, which means it only has one house. At the moment, Luis Guillermo Solis is president. The first vice president is Helio Falas Venega, and the second vice president is Ana Elena Chacon Echeverria.
A strong government usually leads to a strong economy. If you've ever looked at the stickers on the bananas you eat, you've probably come across the name of Costa Rica. It is one of Costa Rica's many agricultural exports. Trade is vital for Costa Rica. To name a few, bananas, beef, coffee, and sugar are produced and exported heavily. Equipment used for medical purposes and other advanced technological devices are also being manufactured. It also makes a lot of money from tourism.
If you've never paid a visit to Central America, Costa Rica might be a good place to start. Vast amounts of government protected lush rainforests, wildlife reserves, and national parks can be found, along with beautiful, relaxing beaches and breathtaking sights. For people fascinated by nature, this is the nature wonderland to be in. The term biodiversity is often used to describe the country, meaning the sheer variety of life that can be found here. The amount of spending the government invests in this area is phenomenal, and it is very much prevalent to any tourist who visits. An example of a national park is Corcovado National Park, which houses many endangered plants and animals. It encompasses various ecosystems like swamps, forests, beaches, and lots more land environments, each one bursting with tons of species of animals, insects, and birds. It takes a daring person to visit a volcano, but it is possible in Costa Rica. The Poas volcano is a crater, an attraction located in the Central Valley, the area in which the capital of Costa Rica is located. The active volcano's crater is huge. It has steam pouring out of the cracks from the water evaporating. It's beautiful and a terrifying way. You can hike around the volcano and see it for yourself. Beautiful beaches are also plenty, like the Manuel Antonio Beach, which is a beautiful beach where you can find coral sea life in the water if you got some snorkeling gear. And the best part is that it's right next to a wildlife reserve, so you can hike to the beach meeting monkeys and other animals along the way and then relax on the sand.
The government of Costa Rica has made it mandatory for students to attend school until 12th grade. They have a public school system very similar to that which is in the United States. However, there is no middle school, as we have here. Students attend elementary school for 6 years, then, upon completion, move on to high school for another 6 years. The government invests a considerable amount in the school system, which it needs in order to achieve its goal of a skilled and educated workforce. The government sees investing in education as a means of uplifting society into a higher standard of living, and it has been successful in that. Like the US, college is not free of cost, although tuitions are relatively cheaper compared to the US.
The culture of the Costa Ricans is rich and exciting. Most of the people are descendants of Spanish people. They may not be as diverse as us in terms of races here in the United States, but they have a few variations nonetheless. One can find Spanish, European, Central American, and Asian peoples all living together. Ticos enjoy family time and have many customs that involve the family coming together. For example, listening to music and dancing. In this way, they are a lively group of people and are very family-oriented indeed. A big part of their culture is the food they eat. One of the most common breakfast dishes is called gallo pinto. Gallo pinto is a dish that is basically rice and beans cooked. Another common dish is called casado. A casado is not a singular dish, but a dish made up of many foods that contain rice, beans, salad, tortillas, fried platano maduro, and some meat. Some of the choices which include beef, chicken, or fish. The selection of meat in the country depends on a person's location in the country. Tamales can be a meal all on their own, but they are also paired with beans and served for breakfast. They are made from corn dough, potatoes, pork, rice, and vegetables, and are wrapped in banana leaves. Many foods in Costa Rica involve beans in some way. There's also a dessert called arroz con leche, which literally means rice and milk. But it also calls for sugar, salt, lemon zest, and cinnamon sticks.
Costa Ricans also celebrate many festivals that intertwine with culture. One of those festivals is the Envision Festival, where one can celebrate and envision a better world. There are 8 pillars of the festival, which include permaculture, movement, spirituality, community, art, music, health, and eco building. Another one that is more closely connected with culture is Fiestas de los Diablitos, which celebrates the Borucas victory over the Spanish conquistadors. They use cool masks to dress up as ancestral spirits, and one man dresses up as a bull to represent the Spanish. They do a dance and pretend to fight for 4 days, known as the Dance of the Diablitos. On the last day, the spirits beat the bull, burn the costume, and then celebrate. The Limon Carnival is another example of a festival that connects with culture. In the Limon Carnival, people celebrate different cultures in the area throughout different days and then celebrate the Costa Rican culture on the last day. Another big celebration is Semana Santa, which is basically Easter, and this makes sense because most Costa Ricans are Christian. This is also celebrated with a lot of pomp and circumstance, with floats, dances, and music.
Ticos are kind hearted, peaceful people with a vibrant attitude, so visitors will definitely feel a warm welcome here. In fact, they even disbanded their military as a sign of this. It took effect on December 1st, 1948. As you may know, there are so many variations of greeting people around the world, and Costa Rica happens to have its own way as well. Upon seeing one of their family members, relatives, or friends, one would kiss them on the cheek as a way of saying hello. This is also done when saying goodbye. However, this is exclusively for women. Men stick to the usual shaking of the hands or giving a hug using only one hand. Ticos habitually arrive late all the time. It is something that they are infamously known for. Surprisingly, they believe it is not rude to do so and account for it by calling it Tico time. Over the years, Costa Rica has changed and has slowly worked on bringing social reforms such as gender equality. Women are now allowed to work and earn close to, if not as much as men.
And there it is, Costa Rica. Although it has a tiny population no larger than the city of New York alone, the serene beaches, national parks, and wildlife reserve make it a sightseeing wonder. Whether you are a person of action, someone who loves science, or one who simply enjoys pure sightseeing, Costa Rica will be sure to please. It is a haven for people who want to escape the hustle and bustle of today's modern city life. It is remarkable how such a forward thinking country can have such a laid back lifestyle, where people are all about living life to the fullest. So, until next time, Pura Vida. In case you were wondering, Pura Vida is their motto and literally means pure life.